Now you might think Goombas are weak, but if an Italian man full body jumped you and double-footed your skull into your pancreas, I bet you would die too. First, let's establish how strong a basic one is. So upon looking at the footage, we can see that even when a full-grown man runs forcefully into one, they themselves will die rather than the Goomba. I thought maybe this could be a poisonous toxin at first, but then how would they not kill the man when he jumps on them? Was that protective shoes? No, don't be silly. Here's a clear image of a man touching them with his bare hands without consequence. The only logical explanation for this is that Goombas must hold a hidden ability in them. We're going to call this horizontal force. All Goombas seem to have this ability that will shatter the pelvis and incapacitate those foolish enough to defy this fanged mushroom. And we're only talking about the basic level of Goomba here, just wait until we start talking about some of the stronger ones. But our basic Goomba is not without weakness. While they are very capable of brawn, they are incredibly stupid. So dumb in fact that they won't even stop from walking off a cliff. Or at least that's what the average smooth-brained thinker would believe. You see, if you actually watch them as they fall from a height of what should be peril, they miraculously survive. They know they will. Moreover, look at this little guy reading. Good God, they're even literate. This absolute beast of a creature is without flaw. Now that we have successfully established some minorly exaggerated abilities of the Goomba, and my clear and competent sanity, let me tell you what I'm actually going to talk about here. We'll start by comparing Goombas that come from the same genre of games, and then among the champions of each category, we'll compare those. The only rule that I'll be applying is that no named or otherwise individual Goombas are allowed. As in, Goombella and Gary are individuals and not representations of an evolution of the species. First off, we'll talk about 2D platformers since that would be the origin genre, and most Goombas in that category would have most, if not all, the abilities mentioned during the intro. Also, we're not going over every single Goomba in existence today simply because I didn't think you clicked on this to listen to Here Goomba Fly, Goomba Stack Tall! So we will be sticking with ones more fun to talk about, unless a more basic type legitimately could be the best in a category. If you think any could have been a better pick that I didn't talk about, leave a comment, be communal and junk. Alright, let's see our first candidate here.
Ew! What am I looking at?
The hell even is that thing? I thought we were looking at Goombas here. So, this creature is known as an Okapi. It's from an incredibly obscure Mario game that was Japan only, having only around 3,000 copies available. It was called All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. It's essentially an incredibly strange crossover with a radio show of all things, with various people from the radio show replacing various enemies and toads. The Goomba and Piranha plants were replaced by this DJ called Sun Plaza Nakano. Anyway, being famous in Japan doesn't amount to much Goomba power, as he is just a sprite swap. Being equal to our current normal champion, disqualified. Ah, that's much better. This is a little more powerful, the humble Bone Goomba. This little monster does what you would expect from looking at him, meaning, having ripped off the scalp of his first victim, he now wears it as protective gear, shielding him from any who might attempt to squash him. I do not know enough about physics to tell you about the gravitational redirection that wearing half a skull would do to reduce fat Italian damage, but it works for some reason. Also protects from fireballs. How quaint. Bone Goomba is now our current best, being just above our normal beastie, and up next is Goomba Zero. Goomba Zero is a highly trained and incredibly rare Goomba, having appeared in a grand total of no games and only exist in a different dimension. Probably. He also marks the second of what will hopefully only ever be 3 times that I decide to draw something wearing a Zero skin on this channel. Despite his skill, armor, and superior weaponry, Goomba Zero is actually weaker than that of the normal Goomba. When the Zero Goomba actually gets into combat, despite all the hype and potential around them, they seem to panic for some reason, often choosing to self-destruct without even causing enough damage to the enemy to harm them in any real way. Or, you know, I just couldn't decide to make a random doodle a finalist and had to come up with a reason to get rid of him. Could be that. Who knows? Next up, the Masked Ghoul. While cool looking, not a confirmed Goomba, also just normal Goomba stats. He's shaped a little like our Okapi. Is that you under the mask, sir? Is there none good enough to beat our skull-snatching terror? There is but one. The Ghost Goomba. While this creature may not have the intimidating kill count of our Bone Goomba, he does have the willpower to somehow maintain his little Goomba shape rather than becoming a boo. Not even our favorite plumber has that amount of mental discipline. As for abilities, the Ghost Goomba can fly, phase through walls, and is immune to being crushed. The only chance you have of surviving such a ferocious encounter is to grab a weapon of some kind and throw it at it, repelling its own horizontal force inward. Despite this weakness, it is clearly quite strong, and the Ghost Goomba is the winner of our first category. A lot more Goombas were in the spooky theme than I was expecting here.
Let's go!
First off, let's establish how our basic Goomba is different in 3D platformers. While maintaining their intelligence, they seem to lose a lot of their horizontal force. Not only can they more often be defeated with melee attacks now, they no longer decimate those who they touch, often only hurting them, and generally not even much. All I'm saying is, while 2D ones could be considered consistent in damage, 3D ones are inconsistent, lowering the power level on average when wandering this strange 3D dimension. With that out of the way, our first candidate is Cat Goomba. He's adorable and I love him. Unfortunately, strength-wise, the only difference is that he will now do a cat pounce. Also, there's 2 types of Cat Goomba, which are golden fur, jumps galore, and brown and proud, walks around. As in the brown ones don't even pounce, they're just cuter normal Goombas. Hop, you little moron, we know you can! With the Goomba's weakened abilities here, there's not much to see unless you're a small mouse or a bird, and I imagine this might be kind of terrifying. Up next, the Goom Beetle. This little cutie's eyes have been stained red from the many years of bloodshed it's seen on the battlefield.
Run away now, it's too late for me. Go! I'll always be with you.
Similar to the Bone Goomba, it has decided that tactical superiority means wearing a helmet to protect its intellectually superior brain. Also fairly certain this guy might come from when a mommy Buzzy Beetle and a daddy Goomba get a little freaky. Which implies that the helmet is actually a shell, which might explain why it can't seem to be removed. The only way to damage this battle-hardened veteran is to slap it across the face, then jackhammer its soft parts into its helmet. Oh really, it's that easy, huh? Still probably stronger than what's essentially a cat. He passes. I would like to honorably mention the Goombas at this point, originally called the Goomba King. He appears in Super Mario 64 DS, can create other Goombas, and takes more than one hit as a boss, but unfortunately, I think he counts as an individual member instead of a species variant, disqualifying him. Up next, a Goomba stack.
Goomba fly, Goomba stack tall.
There were not a lot of interesting Goombas exclusive to 3D games, unfortunately. So we have to ask ourselves, does a large tower of Goombas count as an evolution of the species? And if so, does it manage to be stronger than our little PTSD Goomba? To answer this, we will look to Super Mario Odyssey. In this game, if you take control of the top of a Goomba stack, all of the lower ones will follow suit to Mario's commands. This implies some type of telekinetic hierarchy among the Goombas in this formation. In simpler terms, they become one being in the moment. So I'd like to count them as one creature. Besides, we're already counting things that are essentially Goombas holding weapons, so who cares? Now, is it stronger than the soldier? Barely. If you slap the soldier, you can defeat him. If you slap the Goomba stack, you have to deal with all of them, making them win in a quantity over quality fashion, even without the added protection. You could simply jump on them instead, but that only works if the environment lets you. If you're walking down a long hallway and reach a dead end, you're screwed. Even turning around and knocking their formation over would be difficult, because suddenly you have to bare-knuckle brawl all these miscreants. Goomba Stacks wins for 3D. I don't know where to add this little lady, so before the translation, look at this gorgeous girl here. She's just a normal Goomba gal, but she is slaying it. The RPG genre has Goombas of a similar power level to the 3D platformer ones. Our mighty Goomba's power is often nerfed in games, it seems. Probably to prevent us mere gamers from looking this ordinarily mighty god in the eyes and running away in fear of what would be too difficult of a challenge for us plebeians. First we have from Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, the Goombul. Should I have been saying every game for every Goomba? Oh well. According to the wiki, these little buttes function identically to a normal Goomba, but I could have sworn from when I played the game a long time ago that they could cell divide to make more of themselves. I might be having a Mandela effect right now, and I don't feel like putting in the extra effort of scrubbing somebody's playthrough to find out if I'm right or wrong. After all, they are microorganisms. Oh, I'm just going to dismiss it as being weaker than Lard Boy over here. Lard Boy is called Chaboomba. This evolution seems to suffer from a weakness called As Fat As Your Mom. Jokes aside, it does actually have asthma attacks when running at Bowser. Its lollipop can be stolen and eaten by Bowser, probably a mercy before it kills over from a heart attack. I don't think it can eat its own lolly, or if it can, it's so trivial you never actually see it happen naturally. Either way, Chaboomba is setting a low bar for us to overcome. Here's a spiked Goomba. It's stronger, keeping up with our Goomba of a Hat is strong trend. The spike makes it do more damage when attacking and stops it from the crushing fate that most of the Goombas share. Bravo, you did it, little man. You are just above average. A Tanumba is a shapeshifting little man, and even if the Goomba is already near perfect, shapeshifting into other creatures to cover your weakness is a fairly broken power. Examples in-game include transforming into Mario or Luigi, or even Thwomps to crush them. These other forms can be quite strong too, as in, if it turns into a spiny shell, it will even be capable of poisoning the brothers. A Tanumba might be slightly better than a spiked Goomba. Just a little. Our final candidate from this section is an armored Goomba. Well, that's clearly just another Goomba hat gimmick. There's no way it's...
Shotgun!
Oh. Oh no, that's pretty good, isn't it? So the armored Goomba is immune to all forms of damage, including taking a shotgun blast to the face. The added confidence it gets from its minorly added protection must for some reason make it shrug off anything thrown at it. There's a reason that the objective marker up there says survive. The only way to get rid of this menace is to trip it and toss it over the edge into the void. Alternatively, you can try to knock it off the edge with element enhanced attacks, which is more exciting. Goodbye, Rabid Mario. But honestly, more just spawn from dark portals after this. We're not even defeating them. We're actually just stalling them. He didn't die at all. Good god, these little Shedinja Wonder Guard jerks are powerful. This is a tough comparison. From an offensive standpoint, and a design one, the Tanoomba is clearly superior. But defensively, the Armored Goomba is a damn king. This makes a perfect matchup of can potentially be anything versus can't be hurt by anything. This upset makes a tie in the RPG category. If they fought on a floating space island, the Tanoomba would win. But if they fought in a gladiator arena without ledges, the Armored Goomba would win. I'll have to break the tie when deciding the overall winner. This is a silly section, completely unfitting to the rigidly serious vibes of the rest of the video. I mean, this Goomba using his mouth for a tennis racket rather than his telekinetic abilities? Ridiculous. That's right, party game Goombas are telekinetic in addition to normal Goomba abilities. Floating bat, driving with no hands, chucking snowballs by sheer mental big-brainedness. This is the party game Goomba. With that said, this tennis racket holding satire is already disqualified. That quality should only be reserved to silly, silly fan art. So the question is, which of these three is the most threatening? The car is actually the weakest of the three. After all, if you play Mario Kart and run over a Goomba, the walking Goomba's horizontal force stops the car, so the car is actually weakening him. While Mario Stadium Goomba is more threatening to meet in a back alley, I will be giving this one to Mario Party Goomba. The sheer variety of things it's required to do to play minigames make it a cut above the other Goombas, some of which are driving a car and holding a bat, so basically he can do what the others can do and more. Kind of realizing now that this Goomba might be an individual rather than a species variant, but whatever, rules are meant to be broken, and there's no evidence that you're not playing as a different Goomba every round. This was the last category, so it's time to announce the results. Fifth place goes to Goomba Stack. Quantity does not always mean the best quality. Fourth place goes to Ghost Goomba. He does his best to be in a booze domain, but somehow, still being capable of easily being fatally wounded makes him rank lower. First, second, and third are as follows. Tanoomba is our winner, Party Goomba takes second, leaving Armor Goomba in third. The environment that I brought up earlier ended up making a lower placement for Armor Goomba than I expected. Consider the game series that we're talking about here. It's Mario Brothers, a platformer. 9 times out of 10, you'll be in some type of environment where you're capable of tossing one of these miscreants over the edge. And since Party Goomba and Tanoomba would both be capable of picking up and throwing an Armored Goomba, they would generally win some sort of encounter against one. After that, Tanoomba can use his abilities all the time, and while very capable, Party Goomba generally is going to want some type of item to utilize his strengths. A bit of a wild card, that one. I think Party Goomba being ranked so high is kind of a good thing, because at the end of the day, it turns out our boy is almost already perfect as he was. No need to change himself, and something about that I find poetic. If you enjoyed the video, or would like me to do this about a different character, consider subscribing, like the video, and suggest what you would like me to ramble about next.